Well guys, we finally did it. We're at the end. This is the last stand in part 3, and what other way is there to finish this than the world? The world, as the namesake implies, is the tarot card, well, the world. The user of the stand is none other than Dio. It is a close range type stand, similar to Star Platinum. Its appearance is that of a tall, muscular humanoid. It wears 2 twin diving cylinders on its back, connecting via short, twin-rigged cables to the rear of its mask. Its abilities are that of a close-range stand, just like Star Platinum. Physical strength-wise, it does possess the same as Star Platinum, as it's essentially the same type of stand. The only difference is that Dio has a second ability. It has the power to stop time. This ability of time stop allows Dio, and only Dio, to stop time for around 5 seconds. However, when Dio is fighting Jotaro, and Jotaro seems to think that, hey, you know, it's the same type of stand, he can do it, I can do it too. So I guess he does it. He just does it. Individuals with the same power can only act within stop time for a duration that they are able to stop time, such as when Jotaro finally finds out that he's able to move and stop time. When Dio finally does, Jotaro's only able to move for around a couple seconds, less than 5 seconds in fact, which is the max time that Dio can stop. In stop time, Dio can move anything and do anything. Essentially, he's just stopping time for everyone else except for him. Towards the end, after drinking Joseph's blood, he is able to move from 5 seconds to 9, and had he not died at the end of part 3, it is implied that he would have continued to extend that period of time. In the George Joestar novel, Dio already has his stand and takes over Jonathan's body in the ship using his stand, and so that's kind of insane because it's part 1 Dio with the world. Now here's where it's gonna get confusing. Please stick with me. When Dio wakes up after the 100 years pass, he temporarily gives his stand to Giorno by inserting half of his soul into the boy's body. As a result, Giorno becomes a clone named Dio in all caps, and acts out the events of Stardust Crusaders, meaning that it was him who was in part 3, not actual Dio. And after Dio's death, all caps, Dio, part 1 Dio, actual Dio, uses the effects of Cube House, which is another stand, to travel through time and retrieve his stand again. Once Dio becomes the ultimate thing, just like Cars, the world is capable of stopping time for nearly 1 hour. When battling Dio, Cars develops his own enhanced copy of the stand known as the World Ultimate. Dio also awakens this version of the stand after seeing Cars use it. In the video game Eyes of Heaven, an evolved form of the stand named the World Over Heaven appears in Eyes of Heaven and is wielded by a parallel universe Dio who ascended after beating the Joestar family in part 3. This stand keeps his ability of being able to stop time, but gains a new one, which is the ability to overwrite reality. You got all that? I hope you did. The world was initially designed by Araki as a boss. Contrast Jotaro's Star Platinum. It's notably the only stand in part 3 that lacked any design input from Araki's editor at that time, as he unexpectedly ended up in the hospital during that time. Coincidentally, the tarot card of the world was at one point referred to as Time in the Court de Gebelin deck. Araki stated that Dio is able to breathe within frozen time because the world has an oxygen tank on its back, so it does serve a purpose.